From the Russ Center for Media in downtown Cape Girardeau, welcome to Focus on Southeast, a monthly program on issues and events impacting the campus of Southeast Missouri State University. I'm Dan Woods with KRCU Public Radio. Today we're talking with Southeast President Carlos Vargas. We'll be discussing Southeast's new International Village, a new online master's degree in applied computer science, and much more. Hello, Dr. Vargas. Good to see you.
Dan, how are you?
Good.
Excellent.
We have several things we'd like to talk about during our time together today. Missouri Governor Mike Parson presented his State of the State earlier in January. He had several things to talk about. I'd like to spend some time talking about things related to higher education. And the first thing would be the budget. What can you tell us about that?
Well, the proposal that the governor made is one that leaves our appropriations flat, so at the same level as last year. And that's just a welcome news. There certainly is a case to be made for increasing funding for higher education, but we understand also that there are competing priorities for the governor, and you need to incorporate into it the projections for the revenue for the state and all that. So having said that, we're pleased with what the governor has recommended.
At staying it flat, what does that equate to for Southeast? It's
just over $44 million, what we receive from them. Now our budget, that doesn't mean that our budget is automatically balanced. If you have, our budget consists of two main sources. One is the appropriations from the state. The other one is the tuition we receive directly from the students. The appropriations at this point are flat compared to last year, but we are looking at possibly a drop in enrollment. So, and we've had a drop in over the last few years, and so that really, you can equate that to a budget cut. And so we still need to adjust for that drop. That's why we are working so hard and making sure that we retain our students and that we are more effective in terms of recruitment of new students.
And I guess this is a proposed budget, so we don't know what the legislature will do and how they will react. So there's still a lot of question marks, I guess, around the budget.
That's absolutely true, and we're working, and we will be working closely with our legislators to try to make a case for what we see are important reasons to enhance the budget for higher education, and in particular for Southeast Missouri State University. It's a critical issue.
And it's an ongoing one. I know this is something you're probably always working on sort of in the background. It's one of those things, meeting with legislators and constituents and talking to them about the things that are happening, what's going on at the university, just to make the case continually on why that funding is needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is in some ways not very different from what businesses go through, and they're always looking at selling the product, and they don't know how much product they're going to sell. Yeah. So what's coming in is always a little bit of unclear. With us, it's not that different. We need to find out how many students are coming, and so we need to adjust depending on how many students come and how much money we receive from the state. So we're doing this every year. So you're right. We need to keep paying attention to it, and we need to continue to ensure that our message is out there and that people understand and have a clear understanding as to why this is a good place for them to come to for a college degree.
A couple of the things the governor mentioned in his address was Mo Excels and Fast Track Work Incentive. What do you know? What can you tell us about Mo Excels and Fast Track Work and how that can help training for
Well, absolutely. One of the things that the state of Missouri has done this last year is to put in place a program called Missouri Excels, and the idea was to make one-time funds available to universities who had projects that they wanted to develop over a fixed period of time, and again being one-time funds. So this is not money that would be recurring. So we submitted proposals to them. We submitted two of them. One related to cybersecurity, the other one related to pathways in the health field. And so we're still trying to figure out, which one of those is going to be funded. The total amount that was submitted by the state, by all the universities, was about $75 million. We understand that the governor has seen something like about 16 or 17 million dollars that could come to this program, and that again we need to wait and see what happens at the end of the process. But at least there is there's a program at this point that universities can present proposals for to enhance student success in a meaningful way, and so we're looking at doing that.
And is Fast Track, is that sort of the same sort of thing, a grant program? Or
Fast Track is an interesting program. It's a new program that tries to provide, that attempts to provide funding for students for like the non-traditional student that we have, and the idea would be that this money could be used for individuals to go back and get a college degree. I think it's a program that would provide funding for students, individuals going into community colleges or four-year universities. I think the governor proposed something like $22 million or so for that program. We're still finding out details because, as you said clearly at the beginning, the legislative process is still going on.
Right.
So we're not sure where we're going to end, but that's certainly a welcome news for us and universities, and I think for the business community too, to have the state contribute to the formation of talent and allow those individuals that traditionally have not received any funding or any money to be able to go back to school to do so.
That's both those programs are very interesting. One of the priorities that the governor has, there's two big ones, workforce and infrastructure, and these two obviously speak to that. Mm-hmm. What kind of things do universities need to be thinking about? Do universities need to change how they operate, maybe in some cases, to be able to adapt to meet these workforce needs that we're seeing more and more apparent?
Yes. Well, universities are facing a changing environment that is changing rapidly too. That's the other thing. Universities need to adapt to this new environment, and not only adapt to it in a reactive way, but we need to be proactive in looking at what we should do to make sure that we address the upcoming needs, emerging needs of the communities. So we need to continue to develop innovative programs that are going to help the individuals be successful and competitive in the news world. How many times do you hear about the fact that the careers, the jobs that people are going to have 10, 15 years from now do not even exist? And I tell our students all the time that they need to continue to think, that they need to innovate, they need to be the ones that contribute to creating these new jobs, coming up with ideas as to how to deal with the environment we have and how to promote economic development. That's a result of individuals coming up with ideas. So we as universities need to be at the forefront of this conversation, and we need to work internally within the university to make sure that we understand that these demands may not have been there 15, 20, 30 years ago, but they are there now. So we need to adapt. The role that the university plays is evolving, and the role of the faculty in the university is evolving. The role of the staff, the kinds of things we need to pay attention to is changing.
And change can be tough.
Yes.
We may talk more about this after our break. We need to take a short break. We'll continue our conversation with Dr. Vargas in just a moment. You're watching Focus on Southeast. We'll be right back.
Hi! Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Hi, Meals on Wheels.
I'm Marco. I'm a college student and I volunteer as a driver for Meals on Wheels.
I think it's awesome meeting these people. I mean, they're so interesting. They've had so many wonderful experiences in life. Your community helps to raise you up into the person that you become. Meals on Wheels is a great way to give back to that community.
Power comes from what you do. You're not a spectator to your future. You set the course. You apply all the grit and the talent and the sweat and the passion you can muster, because this is not the next step. It's the biggest step. You believe in the work and the why. You're here to push the limits, build networks, build friendships, break boundaries. This is Southeast Missouri State University.
Welcome back to Focus on Southeast. I'm Dan Woods with KRCU Public Radio. We're talking today with Southeast President Carlos Vargas. I'd like to kind of continue where we left off, talking about workforce and universities changing. Many times I think we get into just doing our day-to-day tasks, and we don't take time to be creative and think about, well, what could be a different way to do this? Is that sort of what's going on here? We're just used to doing things the same way all the time, and we need to be thinking differently to adapt and grow and change?
I'm not an expert in this field, but I think that human beings tend to like the idea of something being repetitive, being the same thing. Knowing how to do something makes you feel comfortable because you know what's going to happen. And that's why people talk about getting out of your comfort zone. And so, yes, indeed, I think that many times we do not put enough emphasis on the importance that it has for people to try to be creative, to think of new ways of doing things. And so that's something that we have to be doing now more and more. Students come here, graduate from the university in general, not attempting to say that everybody does that, but many times they look for a job, they see what the job description is, and they say, okay, this is what I have to do. And the point is, yes, maybe that's what you have to do when you get there, but the point is, what can you innovate? Once you're there, what things can you change to improve what you're doing? You may very well be able to change it in such a way that you create literally a new job, a new opportunity, and you go on to sell it. You sell it to your boss, and you say, "Look what I thought. I think maybe we can do this way or that way." And those things do happen, and those things really. People who are creative become very attractive to individuals who are in charge of these organizations. You always are looking for that person who has that attitude, that motivation to be doing things creatively. That's the kind of mindset that we are at Southeast. We are continuously sort of trying to develop in the student body.
But a person like that also has to be very confident and bold, because when somebody comes in to try to change something that's been done the same way for 15 years, they're I can't believe they're doing this, is really unsettling. I don't like this person, they're changing the way I do things. It can be tough, right?
That's correct. That's absolutely right. I mean, what you just said is, sort of similar to what I said in the beginning. We like things that we know how they're done. It doesn't create any anxiety because we know what's expected of us. It's us. We need to develop that kind of, put that energy into our actions. And certainly a person that comes in with these creative ideas may at times say, hey, face things like, well, wait a minute, what are you trying to do here? Well, I think that's the point. You need to develop the confidence that you need to keep pushing, and not just give in to pressure from others to not change things. So, it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time, and there's all kinds of data. There are all kinds of data out there that show that that technology is going to continue to impact the workforce. I have recently just visited Pepsi Mid-America in Marion, and I was very surprised to see the degree of automation that they have there. They're looking for automation all the time. So very few people are are in the plant. But that doesn't mean that the other people are fired and that that's the end of it. The jobs that are being created as a result of the automation is what we need to prepare our students for. So it's not that there's going to be less jobs. There's going to be probably even more jobs.
Different.
But we need to have our students be able to tackle those that are intellectually more challenging than the ones we had before. So automation and artificial intelligence right now they're just creating a revolution that is hard to understand and assess. I mean, many people talk about individuals from other countries maybe or so taking our jobs, here. The ones that are taking our jobs are the robots in many cases, because people are being displaced by automation.
Yeah. So learn how to program the automation, and that's where
that's correct.
Right.
That's correct. And you can become the programmer for that robot. Then you continue to have a job, and it's a better paid job.
Wow. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about, well, maybe along the same vein. Southeast is launching a new online master's in applied science to prepare students for advanced careers. So who knows what's going to be coming down the pipe, but this is a new way to do it online for those who maybe can't come to campus, but to get that degree and be ready for whatever job comes along.
Yes, that's, you're talking about a success story here at Southeast. This Master of Science in Applied Computer Science is a program that's a face-to-face program, and we're not transitioning it to being online. This program that we just launched in fall of 2018, we expected over 10 or 15 students or so in the first class. We ended up with 43 coming in first semester offered. And my understanding is right now there may be close to about 80 or so. So this is a very fast growing program that clearly is responding to the interests and the needs of the community out there. That shows how we need to be creative, that if you are creative, things happen. So that's, yes, absolutely. So we need to continue to promote those programs and make sure that we keep our eyes open, that we interact with industry, that we look at what's coming so that we can anticipate and have programs that make sense and are relevant for the students continuously and as soon as possible.
Well, and if you think about how many things now have some kind of software or computer control in them in some capacity, this makes this kind of degree, I would think, even more applicable to future technologies that are going to continue to change.
And we should not assume that computer science, or for example, these individuals are, that this is not connecting with our regular other disciplines in the liberal arts. Automation computing, they can have an impact, a tremendous impact on many other areas. And that's why we need to produce people that have some kind of balance like that, expertise in these technologies, but also be grounded in some of the liberal arts education that we have, what we call the traditional university education, which is very powerful. When you bring those two together, you can create things that are amazing. I mean, the thought comes to mind about how Facebook was created, and Facebook was created not by a person, a techie, but somebody who had a degree in psychology, who was interested in using technology to explore certain behaviors of people and look at where we are right now. So.
Yeah. Well, why don't we take a short break? When we come back, I want to talk about the International Village and maybe a few other things if we have time. You're watching Focus on Southeast. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
They'll test you, try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread. and kiss them all soundly.
Lights out. Good night.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Focus on Southeast. I'm Dan Woods with KRCU Public Radio. We're talking today with Southeast President Carlos Vargas. So let's spend a little time about talking about the International Village, which has recently opened. Tell us about that facility and what its purpose is here on our campus.
This facility was called Cottonwood, and it used to be leased to an outside entity. And when they decided to leave, we thought, what is the best thing to do there? And after doing an analysis and talking to people, we felt that using that area as a place to bring together the Office of International Student Services and the IEP program, which is the Intensive English Language Program, was a good, very effective way of responding to some needs we had on campus because of the locations where they were placed before, and also use that as a way to promote our international student enrollment. So this is a very unique facility. Not very many universities have something like what we have here. It's actually quite innovative in many ways, and so we're looking at this as an opportunity to actually enhance the ability of the international students and the domestic student population to come together. So it's going to be an area where there's going to be opportunities for learning, joint learning, where international students are going to have a clear place they can go to. This facility has a gymnasium. They have a gym in there. They have a kitchen close to it, so you know how international students like to prepare food and celebrate and do festivities, and they oftentimes prepare their own meals and for the community. You know, we have plenty of activities here throughout the university where international students bring about some of their traditions, their culture, and their food for domestic students to explore and to taste. And so this is going to be a wonderful opportunity to enhance our infrastructure for international students, but also for domestic students. So it's not one of those things where we are supporting a group and not supporting the other one. I think this is going to create an area that we're going to be able to use for promoting intercultural activities of all kinds.
And to sit down, and this will be a place I'm gathering is sort of a place where you get to sit down and have a casual conversation, kind of a nice hangout. It's the word hangout place, but sort of like that maybe.
Yes, that's exactly right. You know, it's always nice when you say, hey, we can go somewhere where you have a place that you can go to, feel comfortable, and have conversations. And you know, I just personally believe that conversations are such an important part of coming together. Conversations where you talk about life and you talk about your own way of doing things and your culture and your traditions, and you allow this inquisitive nature to come out and talk to each other. And again, as I said, they're going to be able to even play some sports. They're very close to this rec center also, and so they're going to be able to walk over there. And so the facility is going to be very, very nicely located. It's going to be able to bring more life to that area, which is the corner of Sprague and New Madrid, just across from Show Me Center. So we're excited. There's going to be a ribbon cutting ceremony in the spring for that facility. So we're hoping that it's going to continue to attract international students. I was just this morning. I actually met a former student from here, an alum, who is in St. Louis. He's from Nigeria originally. He got his undergraduate degree here, went to St. Louis, and he's now the president of the African Chamber of Commerce. It's a new organization that they've been formed for about 3 years. and they're very excited to actually connect with us and see what kinds of opportunities there are for collaboration. I can imagine students maybe from African descent who come here, they would have then a connection to St. Louis, to the business community there, to people who have been here and now are there. It's just really an exciting thing. We also are part of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, so we've been doing some things with them. So we're trying to really explore ways in which we can continue to internationalize our campus. So.
We've got about 2 minutes. Before we go, I want to ask you, how's Rowdy?
Rowdy finally healed. He had an accident for not being careful with his toys.
It was a T-shirt cannon, right? Didn't he?
Yes. So he's back. I guess bigger, better, and faster, I guess, maybe. Is that the proper way of saying it? Well, stronger and faster.
He was out of commission for a while, and I know there were some videos online where he had his beak was wrapped, and he took quite a while to get better. Right.
So I think, yes. So I'm very pleased about the way athletics and marketing work together and introduced Rowdy, the new Rowdy, and so we're excited. I hope that the community will adopt and appreciate the Rowdy that we have back.
I've heard him described looking somewhat like a superhero is one of the terms I heard.
Oh, okay.
Dun, da, da, da.
Yes.
There you go. Well, Dr. Vargas, thank you very much for being here with us today.
Thank you, Dan. That's a very pleasure. Thank you.
Focus on Southeast is a collaboration of KRCU Public Radio and the Department of Mass Media here at Southeast Missouri State University. And just a reminder that portions of these monthly conversations with Dr. Vargas will be broadcast on KRCU, and our entire conversation is available at krcu.org. From the Russ Center for Media, I'm Dan Woods with KRCU. Thanks for watching, and be sure to tune in next time when we focus on Southeast.